I'm Stacey Wilson-Hunt from New York Magazine, based here in LA. Nice to see you. How's everybody doing? It's been a long week, hasn't it? Just like every hour it's something challenging us. But it's wonderful to be here to celebrate amazing art and amazing performances. So I will waste no time in bringing to the stage Daniel Kaluuya.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Hello.
Great sweater too, huh? Very cool.
Oh yeah, it's new.
I can tell it looks very sparkly.
All the things in my hair, it's really annoying. I spent like 20 minutes trying to get it all out.
No, it looks very cool. So, what does it feel like to be sort of the face of this movie and the face of this incredible piece of art that I've been thinking about for months? I mean, I saw it at the beginning of the year, and it's this thing I keep coming back to. How has this year been for you? How does it feel?
It's been a mad year, yeah. It's a bit surreal. Yeah, it's just kind of, I'm still processing it. It's kind of like, I did it because I believed in it, I did it because I believe in Jordan, and so for it to resonate is amazing and a gift, and then for it to keep on going, and the train keeps on going, and you go whoa, it keeps like it's never ending thing. It's been a bit surreal that like people, but it's amazing that people have taken it and made it their own thing, like the memes and stuff like that, and like. It's funny. I got a meme today. Yeah. I got a new meme today. Like, really? Yeah, there was a meme today that my friend sent me, and it was like Black Panther poster, and it was like he got out of the Sunken place and went back home. Yeah, I find it really funny. Like, it's really exciting. It's just that's why you do it, because so people can create on top of creation.
Yes. So before we dive more deeply into the movie, I would love to know what your childhood was like growing up in London.
In what way do you mean?
I guess.
A lot happened.
I don't know anything. I'm hoping you'll reveal. So no.
All right.
I'm relying on you to share all of your intimate details. No, was your family artistic? Where did you see the seeds of wanting to be an artist grow from?
Man, I don't even know. Like, no, my family's not artistic. They're African. They want me to be a doctor.
So they're like most parents.
Yeah,
they just want us to be doctors.
What are you doing? Like, mom was like, what are you doing? I grew up in an estate back home. It's like the project, so you call it a project. So grew up on like benefits, like welfare, free school meals and that. My mum was homeless for the first 2 years of my life. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, come out of hostels and that. Do you know? Just real, innit? Like, and then I kind of grew up in an estate, and then it's kind of crazy. I grew up in Camden Town, which is I call it punk Disneyland. You know what I mean? It's like where all the punks come to play. Do you know what I mean? Everyone that's counterculture. And so loads of Spanish people. I don't know what's happening in Spain, but loads of Spanish people come to Camden. And yeah, it's just, so I kind of saw the world differently. Like, if you're getting on a bus and there's a guy with platform Dr. Martens and spiky leather trousers, spiky leather jacket and spiky pink hair, and no one's batting an eyelid, just no one cares. It's really normal in a 253. Yeah, and then I think I was a really busy kid. Problematic, as some teachers would say. And then the teacher would say to my mum, he should do acting. He should let that out. But then, oh no, that's a lie again. Okay, and I wrote my first play when I was 9. I wrote a play, and
What was it about?
It was based on Kenan and Kel. It was about these
King
two.
Of the Hill.
Kenan and Kel.
Oh, I think you said King of the
You know,
Hill.
like Kenan Thompson, who's not King of the Hill. I wasn't that advanced. I wasn't that highbrow. No. It was Kenan and Kel. It was proper, like, you know what I mean? I was there. And it was based in, there were two guys that worked in McDonald's. And I don't know, I won this competition. It got performed at Hampton Theatre. So I knew I could write. I knew I could do stuff. And then I got into acting through improvisation. This is improvisation class in North London called Anna Sher. So a lot of Joe Wright went there and Kathy Burke and all these people, and then the first 3 years of acting was just improv, no scripts, no characters, no structure, no form.
Like comedy or
Anything you want.
Really?
You basically just given, why did you do that, as a first line, and you have to just go. Like you have to just, and there's a bunch of kids that are from the estate, and they just, if you're rubbish, they just play snakes on their phone. If you're rubbish, they laugh at you. Wow. So it just teaches you that like, it's not given, that attention's not given. I mean, you have to engage. You have to give something that engages, and so it became a game. If I can get them off their phones.
You like the challenge.
Yeah. And then, but it was daunting because you're like 13, and then you're like probably the most like insecure and self-aware of you'll ever be, and you're just thrown on the stage with like people that are like just think they just want to laugh at you. They want to laugh at you, and they want to throw you off. So yeah, and then I just kind of fell in love with it during that time.
And what would you consider your first big break as a paid actor?
I did this job called Shoot the Messenger, which was my first job. I was acting underneath a church off Caledonian Road, and then these BBC casting directors just came and they were looking for kids, because it's really hard to find London kids, authentic London kids. It's like Attack the Block. They went all around the area. It's really hard because it's hard to get into it because it's a middle class, upper class industry back home, and so they found us, and then I got it, and it was David Oyelowo was the lead. Right. And then and it was just a really amazing project to be a part of, because it really, like, in the black community in London, it really started conversation. The initial script, this working title was called Fuck Black People. And it was about this teacher who was a self-hating black person. And he identified all the problems in his life to black people and what that was, and investigating what that was. And he lost his job because of these black kids that like told him, that said that like, oh, you beat us up. And so he's like, everything about that's happened in my life is because of black people. And it was just like it articulated how some people think about themselves and how some people see their own community. And so it was really provocative. So I don't know, it was like that informed me moving forward, that if I'm doing something, it needs to like that seen as that it created debate, you know, and that really excited me.
And when you started to fall more in love with acting, was there a sense that you would have to somehow do a Hollywood movie or a Hollywood project to really be serious, or did you want to stay at home and be part of this community, which sounds like was kind of getting started and more bustling?
Man, I was just happy to be working, man. I didn't really think of it like that. Like at the beginning, I didn't think I was, I'm gonna go. I don't know where Hollywood was. Like, like I'm in Camden, man. I was just happy to be paid. Like I was broke. Like I was getting paid to do stuff that I was paying to do. Do you know what I mean? I used to pay people to act, and now someone's paying me. That was insane. Like, so I did that, and then I was really appreciative and happy that I was able to do it and learn and get time off school and like, and then
That's
I just
a common thing.
yeah,
I've heard.
and then I kind of, things started changing in me where I was like, oh, I've done this before, then I shouldn't do it again. There should be some sort of progression. So then my wants and needs developed. Do you know what I mean? So it was like, it's like a checkpoint. Like I've done this, so you're not growing if I do it again. It's like I'm here to learn and get better at my job. So I always wanted to push what I could do and go to the spaces that I find challenging and difficult.
And was there someone you looked up to as a performer, a man or a woman, producer, director, where you thought, oh, that's the kind of content I would love to see myself engaging in? It could be a UK person, it could be
At
American.
the beginning, this actor called Ashley Waters, who is from London, and he was in this film called Bullet Boy. And like, you gotta understand, it's like working class black people, there's just not London. There wasn't any role models really when I was growing up. So seeing him in Bullet Boy, and he used to be a rapper back home in this like big group called So Solid, like to see him become like an actor and being like, he was in Get Rich or Die Trying and do all that stuff. It was like, whoa, like it's possible for me, because I understood him. Like I understood the estates. I understood that. I was like, okay, then I can do it too, because he sounds like me and he looks like me. So that was really important for me starting.
And when was the first time you met Jordan Peele? Under what circumstances?
It was a Skype. Does that count?
Sure, of
Does
course.
Skype count as me? Yeah, it was for this. It was for this. I read it and I was like, whoa. Then he said, I was like, oh, Jordan Peele's amazing. This is amazing. And he was like, he knows you. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean he knows me? Now he's a fan of you. You watch Black Mirror. I did a show called Black Mirror back home. And cheers, thank you. So I did a show called Black Mirror back home, but then I did Black Mirror like 2011. Right, before the so this is ages. It hit Netflix 2014. So it was a crazy delay in terms of like people taking it in America and people taking it in for the fruits of it actually coming. So he'd watched that and he was just telling me like how much he loved that and like he had this. There's not a lot of lead role. There's not a lot of black actors that have had an opportunity to lead something in their mid-20s. And then he was like, oh, like he wants to do it with me and this is that and the other. And that's what he said. But obviously there was like, it was in his early stages and he was like, I'm thinking about you and this is that and the other. And I was like, yo, I want to do this. I think this is such a special script. And I was just like, you've done the work. And this is really amazing. This will make my friends feel included.
I remember interviewing Jordan a couple of years ago. He was promoting Key and Peele. And I said, what's next for you? What do you have? And he told me, he wasn't going to tell me exactly what he was doing, but he gave me the loose idea of what this movie would be. And I thought, wow, very, very daunting. I mean, just to meld the social commentary with a horror film. There are very funny moments too. I'd never seen someone attempt an amalgam of this type before. Did you have the same sense when you read it? Did you get a sense of the tone?
Yeah. It's for me, I just read it like I just want this guy to be a real guy that people identify with, because I feel like I'll say anyway. But I find it jarring when I can see that an actor thinks they're in a comedy. Do you know what I mean? It's like I just go, well, what you doing? Like, do you mean it's like they know it's comedy, right? But the funniest people don't know they're funny. They're just expressing themselves, and how they choose to express themselves is taken as funny, and it's fine. And sometimes they can find that really frustrating, and that's usually the funniest moments. Like there's this film called Chopper. There's a film called Chopper and Eric Bana.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, he's hilarious in it.
Yeah,
but he's a madman. Like he's like, but I think he's so funny, and I was like, oh, like it's just, and so
but he was meant to be funny. It was absurd. It was supposed to be absurd. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like those people are, but he's doing stuff. That's his reality. That's just what makes sense to him. Right. So how I saw it was like, I can tap into the real dude in this. Like, what does this guy? Who is this guy? What's he doing? Like, it's not a horror film in his head. Like, it's not a comedy in his head.
Well, it's just real life.
Yeah, it's like you call your friends sometimes. Sometimes they're really funny because they're funny. It's not a comedy though. So I just kind of see, I just kind of look things in with sheer logic and go, what's this
Logic
guy
and
doing?
Hollywood don't always go together.
I'm gathering this.
Yes, I know. That's
no, I'm playing.
It's a hard lesson.
I'm playing. No, I just go, okay, cool. No, yeah, like I'll just do this. And this is a guy that does that because the audience needs to be able to project themselves onto that situation. Because if they were in those shoes, they would do that.
Well, the reason the movie works is because we see it through your eyes, and to you, you're experiencing what you've just said. This isn't a horror movie to you. This is just, I'm going away on a weekend trip.
It's just like racism is horrifying.
It is.
So it's like I'm going through this really kind of low key traumatic experience, and yeah, cool. And how people deal with it is sometimes really funny.
I was at a screening of Mudbound the other night, which is a beautiful movie. I don't know if you have a chance to see it, but it's stunning.
I really want to watch it.
And I was struck by the people in my row. There's a really awful scene at the end, and very upsetting scene, and people walked out because they wanted to get to the party afterwards. And I heard them say that. And it was so hurtful to think that that's not only not uncommon, but it is sort of has dictated the kind of stories we tell for a long time. It's just, and I wanted to tell this lady, what movie did you think you were seeing when you came in tonight? And I think Hollywood has had a hard time trying to tell these stories that don't fit into historic drama, urban drama, whatever the case may be. And I think this movie is impactful because we think we're going to get something and we end up getting so much more, which I think is so beautiful.
Yeah, because Jordan's, he lives in America and he's passionate about these race relations and he loves horror.
Right.
So this is just...
and he's very funny.
He's funny, and it's his way of expressing. It's a voice. It's an urgent, immediate voice that is trying to communicate something. But I think it's amazing that he communicated in this way because it reaches more people.
Absolutely.
And then actually it reveals who people are. Because I remember I went to the airport the other day, and this guy was like, "Oh, wasn't it a dream?"
That's what he thought the movie was a dream?
The movie was a dream. Because that's how he sees it.
I don't even know what to say.
That's just life, man.
See, people don't want it to be real, so it's like,
because racism isn't real to them.
Right. So when you were making the movie, how aware were you at the time of, I know, and actors don't have ultimate control over the final product, we know that, but did you have a sense when you were on set and when Jordan was, you're digging into these just intense moments, did you have a sense of, wow, we're really nailing it. This is exactly what Jordan had hoped to do. This is exactly what I hoped the script would turn into. Because I know it's so hard to manage the expectations when you're in the moment.
No, I try not to. That's why I don't look at the
dailies
monitors, or I just try and be real. I just try. The whole thing is trust. I just trust him, man. And I when I read the script, like when I say he's done the work, he's done the work. He understands story. He understands. He's created a world. Like I can feel that on the page. So I trust that he can see that world as well. So I'm just trying to be real. I'm in the accent. I'm just trying to be real and put my head down and be present. So like, I mean, there was a moment when I started strangling Allison that I knew that it wasn't gonna go quiet. I knew that some people were gonna see this. It was gonna provoke, and it was like, because that imagery in itself is a young black man strangling a young white woman it's a lot. You know what I mean? So I knew that, like, oh, this is real. Like, this is all it takes is one black person to see it, and they're gonna tell some people. So like, that's the only thing I understood the imagery. But in terms of like nailing the form, because it's having something that works, I think it's really rare and random. So it could feel amazing, but something happens in the edit. Or the sound, or they run out. I mean, so it's like you just have to let it be what it is.
And how did you feel the first time you saw the final cut?
Final cut. Oh man, where was I? I think it was at the premiere. Oh God, I hate watching it with people. Like, I hate watching it for the first time with people. I find it really, because you're just analyzing yourself. You're just breaking yourself down. Why am I doing that? The flip. One thing, like, look at me, idiot. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, look, I sound English there, you idiot. Like, and then my mum's next to me. She's like, oh, it's not good. I'm like, shut up, man. Shut up.
Don't bring your mom to a premiere. That's a terrible idea.
No, I have to, because she just like, I was like, what do you think of the accent? It's getting better. Like, oh yeah, great. So
you guys screened it at Sundance. It was a sneak screening.
Yeah, I didn't go to that. I was at work. I was in Atlanta. So, it was. I couldn't believe I was there. To be honest, I couldn't believe I'd come that far. Like, sometimes I see it on a reel. Like, I'm a brother from Camden, from an estate. You know what I'm saying? So, like, a lot of people don't know that context, but I know it. So I go, whoa, like, all these people in these room watching me do my job. Do you know what I mean? So it was quite overwhelming. Like, man, like, sometimes you go through so much and people tell you what you can't do. Like, that's all you get being young. Like, people tell you what you can't do. This is what you can't do, and then you're just pushing through. So it's kind of like, wow, man. At the moment of it was quite like.
I have to imagine everything that you had gone through is exactly why Jordan wanted you for this movie. I mean, everything you brought to this part is exactly what this movie needed. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's what he talked about. I mean, he was very wary about casting someone British.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, the Sam Jackson of it all.
Yeah, he was very wary about that. And then, like...
Did you guys hear what Sam Jackson said earlier this year? I have the quote. He said, there are a lot of black British actors in these movies, meaning, I guess, generally. And he said, I tend to wonder what the movie Get Out would have been with an American brother who really feels that. And he said, what would a brother from America have made of this role? Some things are universal, but not everything. And obviously it caused more conversation, and you responded very beautifully. And I think in GQ you gave an interview. And tell us what you said.
I don't know. I was rambling.
It was.
I went on one. Sometimes I just go on one. I can't.
It was something along the lines of you didn't feel like you had to justify your blackness, and I think that's a beautiful way of saying everything that exists in this movie exists everywhere. And I think that's maybe Sam, who we love, he's a good guy, maybe missed that was the core message of the movie.
Like Sam's a don in it, so you can't really. He's entitled to his opinion, but it's like I feel like what happened in the interview, about what we was talking in Jordan, like he was. I think he felt that it was an African American experience, well, I was like saying no, it's a black experience. Do you know what I'm saying? Like what we look to African Americans to see ourselves away from America. Like that's what I wrote a play based on Kenan and Kel. Do you know what I mean? That's at 9. That's the only time I saw myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Like so, like what the like hip hop's massive back home because it has the energy of us. Like because we see it as black, but obviously America is America, so it's a lot of time they see it as African American. Because they're not so in England you're like you understand what it's like the experience like for a black person in Paris. You understand that's what the riots are happening in those hoods. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we know what's happening in Berlin. We know like because it's European. Well, I think Americans probably don't know that and they just don't know. So that's what I was speaking to him about and like it's the thing is about this situation is like I try not to talk about it in detail because I really live this. It's not like I'm proving it. I'm not even removed enough to even talk about it. Like I'm really like I can't even say what stuff. If we talk after, I'll tell you what's happening right now. Like what countries I'm not allowed in because of the systematic racism I've experienced back home. Do you know what I mean? It's like we do this, man. We done this. We live this. Like and so. It's just it's even like coming to America is because of the systematic oppression back home. So to come here and go, oh, it's just I think that's what happens when you're young and black. You get questioned. You get questioned always. Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting to think. Let's say you had used your regular accent in the movie, and you didn't do an American accent. It's not like the movie would have been diminished at all had you just done your regular voice and been playing a British guy. I mean, it's strange to think about that the story is still impactful and it still works, Yeah.
But then also it's Jordan's voice, so it's. Right. Do you know what I mean? It's not like someone from London's voice. So as a performer, I'm just helping you tell a story. Right. You know what I mean? I'm here to serve. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm just going, all right, cool. How can I fit into it? Like we're performers. Like it's about taking away your ego and taking away yourself, so you can adopt another person's like perspective and psyche. Do you know what I mean? And that's performing. So it's like if you watch the film and feel it, that means you must know that I feel it. Mm-hmm. Because I'm in it. You know what I mean? That's how I think. Like and in how that manifests is how that manifests. But then I think that this is what's interesting about that debate. I just don't see I don't see other actors of other races having to be, if they're playing German, they're not being, you know what I mean? Right. Like, so what, it's because it mirrors what happens in the film. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And what was Jordan like as a director?
He was really cool, man.
I assume he was cool, but I wondered, this is his first big feature of this magnitude. Nothing against Keanu and other movies he had worked on, but Keanu is a little different. But he's an actor as well, a very gifted performer, gifted improv artist. What were his directions to you in the moment?
He'd do this thing where, like, before a take, he would just run through the film, like all that's happened up to this point. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this, just in my ear. So I'll be like, oh yeah. So he really cared. He really cared. But he was so adaptable in making sure whoever was in the scene that they would have their process. I mean, I'm not a guy that likes to over elaborate and articulate the ins and outs. I just feel it and then try and do it. So he'll say something, go, look, come on, let's do it. Let's see what happens. Because I want to surprise myself. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, so I know that's how I feel. And so he was very open to collaboration and hearing what you think. Because even like the Give Me the Keys thing, that was made up on set. Like we made it up on set, like because it was something he written wasn't working. And then I was like, I can't. There was lines and I was like, this guy needs to get out. Like literally, this guy needs to get out. Like there's no time for elaborate dialogue like that. Do you know what I mean? So and then he was like, oh, just say this, just say that, and then you just go in it. And he was very giving and he heard you, but also when he fought for something, you just knew it was from a good place. You know what I mean? And also he's fun. Some days he would do direction like Tracy Morgan, which is funny. That's pretty chill. That's a good scene. It's my movie. That's pretty chill.
That's one way to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah, fun.
And what was your relationship like with Allison making this movie? This was a very big deal for her coming out of, a show, mostly a comedic show. How would you describe your chemistry with her? Did you do a lot of work together beforehand, or did you kind of come to set and kind of get to know her when you were working with her?
No. Jordan made it happen as well. We sat down a lot and just got to know each other and where we was coming from. I think that's what's really important about this. It's like getting to know where everyone's coming from. Do you know what I mean? And being open and not projecting whatever ideas and understanding where they're coming from. So we were just speaking about this, speaking what we're passionate about, and then that was just one session, and then we did a session just on the scenes, and we improvised, and we just threw the script. So we had learning lines, and we just threw the script away and go, what would feel real? Do you know what I mean? And so even like the lake scene, that before they sit down, that was complete improv. Like that was like us two just riffing. That was on the second day of shooting. So it was just making it feel honest and real. And she's so on it and like really talented and just really prepared and likes to know what's happening and dig into her character, because it was important that this character felt real and not like a villain. Like, do you know what I mean? It felt like you'd understand why he fell for her and fell for it, Right.
And upon closer viewing of the movie, there are so many wonderful symbols, and I think the theme of sight and vision is very prevalent in the movie in terms of you being a photographer, close-ups of people's eyes. I mean, there's so much eye in this movie, and the scene with the tear coming down. I mean, there's so much beauty in these close-ups, and also just literally close-ups of these black faces we've never seen in movies before. It's beautiful. I've just never seen cinematography like this, certainly in this movie, in this genre. Did Jordan tell you, okay, I want to make this about sight and vision and seeing this through other people's perspective? Did he sort of tell you that, or did you see that kind of come through in the final product?
That's what he did, the work. That's what it's all singing to itself, because he created a world, he created a universe. The one that blew my mind, and remember I found out, like, I don't know, it just hit me, like, I think a couple of weeks after it came out, like, he said there'll be little Easter eggs. I'm like, oh flip, he did that every day. Like they'll be like, oh, Jordan did that. It was like about the blind guy. The blind guy is an example of like people that go, I don't see color. Do you mean like it's when the eyes are, oh, I don't see color. Like, of course you do. Like, you see, everyone sees color. It's okay. Like, do you mean it's like, and it's like that thing where like he just hits it like kind of, and that's speaking to him being a photographer and him. I want your eyes, man. I want this. I want that. Like he just speaks to like it's all referring to itself. He's done all the work. He understands what like storytelling is, and he is so tight and compact. Yeah.
And what do you hope people take away from this movie? If you could ask someone to tell you, this is what I learned from this movie, what would you hope that they would say?
I'm more interested what they arrive to. Like, that's not being a cop-out or anything. I just think, like, I think it's more interesting that I want to know who that person is. So the guy that says it's a dream,
says a lot.
Why do you think that's a dream? No, I'm not even saying it's a lot. Like, why do you think that's a dream?
Right.
What is it about it that you felt like the whole movie was a dream?
Did anyone else feel like it was a dream? No. Okay.
But that's fascinating, no?
It is.
Do you know what I mean? Because that you're getting inside that person's psyche. You're understanding where he's coming from, and so to like that's why when the film comes out, it becomes yours. Kind of nothing to do with me anymore. Like it's your film and what you take from it and how you feel at that time. So I find that always really fascinating to kind of go, oh, is that what you got? And I learn stuff. I mean, I learn stuff if someone says, I'm coming from here and this is what I think. I'm like, oh man, I didn't think of it that way, because I think of it like this because of my experience.
What other feedback did you get that surprised you in terms of how people read the film?
There was an interpretation where like about Chris's relationship with black women. I mean, and I found that fascinating, in the fact that like, you know, like he felt he left his mum, a black woman, and like he's kind of navigating by being with a white woman. He's navigating his feelings. Is that me? What does that mean? I mean, I thought that take's really interesting. I think.
Have you noticed different reactions among men and women?
Yeah, and there was someone that said to me that you shouldn't handle this subject matter in that way. They were like, you made it light. You made it light. You made it juvenile. Like, do you know what I mean? And it's like, I mean, it's like that's interesting. I'm not gonna go, you're wrong, because they're not wrong to themselves. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's how they think. I can go, this is where I'm coming from, and this is what. If a black person writes and makes something, they could handle it and express it how they want to, you know. But that's fascinating, you know.
I think we're used to seeing these stories told too in a historic context, where it's a period movie, and these themes play out in a way like, well, that's the way things used to be. And I think that it creates like a comfort, a cushion between now and then. At least that's what I've read in the last couple of years, just in terms of the types of movies that get lauded. They tend to be, there's like a distance between us and the stories. Now. in British movies, I mean, Gugu and a lot of actors in England have talked about the only roles that they get offered are, you know, in historic films. And I think it's really, and it's everywhere is really my point.
Yeah, but I feel like I can't even, not like I can't do that. Like, I think I'm quite a contemporary kind of person. So like it's new, like even the London subculture that's there now, like it's like new, because there's a lot of wave of African and Caribbean people that came in the late 80s. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and their kids are now growing up and doing their thing, and like.
So no costume dramas for you coming up then?
I mean, I'm not gonna say no, like, because if I end up wanting to go, this guy, look at this guy, he said he didn't want to do anything. But no, I'll see what happens, man. I'll see what happens, man. If it feels real and it feels urgent and immediate, then like I'm involved.
It's a good perspective. And before we get to audience questions, I want to hear a little bit about Black Panther, which you're in post on. It's very exciting. It opens in February. Yes.
February 16th,
yes.
Yeah.
Boy, to go from from this to that's pretty exciting in 1 year. No
surreal.
pressure.
Yeah, it's been a mad year, yeah.
I met the cinematographer the other night at an event. She's amazing.
She's amazing, yeah, she's wicked.
And we talked a little bit about working with Ryan, and it's just thinking about a few years ago when I first met him after Fruitvale, and just to think about how much he's accomplished in the last couple of years. It's so exciting. What was it like to work with that incredible cast, but also be part of telling this huge superhero story that I think is pretty, history making?
I mean, there was one day on set, I think it's in the trailer, there's a waterfall scene. And then Chad comes out. I won't tell you what happens in the scene, but Chad comes out where everyone's there. It's like one of the only scenes where everyone's there. It's hard to get everyone in the same room for some reason.
It's a very big cast.
Yeah, so everyone was there, and then the background started singing because they got these drummers. They got these drummers start singing and they start drumming, and I got chills, man. I was like, I have never seen anything like this I cannot believe I'm a part of something like this, man. I genuinely, I was just like, whoa, this is like an African superhero movie.
It is. The poster, I have to say, is amazing.
I haven't even dreamt of that. Like, you mean it's like I haven't even dreamt. Like, it's like I didn't even know I wanted this. Like, it was like, what's going on? Like, it was like you sitting there, you're like, whoa, like, and then we saw a bit at Comic-Con.
That's right. People lost their minds.
Nah, we lost our minds, man.
Yeah.
But we worked hard on that.
Yeah.
We gave everything to that. Everyone, like, if you speak to anyone that's a part of it, they know. We like, it's like, growth hurts, man, a lot. Like, it was hard. So like, and to see that we're in something that we would watch and we would enjoy, and we're like, and that's gonna, like, I never seen anything like that in my life. I've never seen
little kids being able to see this and think, God, I've never seen myself like that.
Not even that. It's little kids thinking that is standard.
Right.
That is just how it is. That's the amazing thing. It's not that it's special. That cool. Right. Like, and they're gonna grow up thinking, yeah, that's the kind of incredible thing where it completely changes what's possible, you know. And I commend Ryan for all he's doing at the moment.
And what was it like to go from being the lead to being part of an ensemble? Was it a little bit of relief that, okay, I'm not in every scene. I don't have this is not all on me. You can actually share it.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
I imagine, yeah.
It gets tough, man. Like Get Out was a 23-day shoot, man. We was in the jungle, man. We was and it was hard, man. It was tough. There weren't like times where we can like learn the stunts. We were just doing the stunts at the day on it, doing fighting. There was times when I was getting strangled. It was like on it. There was a lot of pressure, and you carry it. And so to be in a cast of like people that know more than you as well, like, and you can learn from and then they're sharing it, and then they're telling you, they're giving you keys, man. They're like, yo, this is that and the other. That's like, it was really important for me to be a part of something like that. Just because I didn't go drama school. I couldn't afford it. Like, so like I to be a part of like I still feel like I'm a student every day. Like, I mean, so to be around people that have lived it and to go, yo, this, it's really exciting to be a part of it.
Free school and no debt. You don't have to pay for loans or anything.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
There are other expenses, of course.
Yeah, insecurity about ability, yeah.
Well, every person on this stage has that, so you're in good company. So the first question is from Sean Hill. Where is Sean? Him back there.
Hello.
Okay. Hello, wherever you are.
Bro.
Oh, there you are.
You're the afro.
Hi.
Hello, man. How you doing?
Sean would like to know, what is one thing you know now that you really wish you knew when you started? And this could be in acting, entertainment, life in general.
Don't take things personally. I think I'm from like quite a direct kind of environment, so people say what they mean, and I think that kind of gets me. Like when people say one thing and they do one thing, but it's business. So, but the thing is business is me and you. So I'm like, well,
weren't you just being
if
honest?
I was a real dude, you would just say that. What's happening? I don't understand. Like, what are you doing? Why do you say it? Why don't you just say you don't want to do it? Like, so, but then I had to learn that you can't take things. Not everyone has your values. So cool. Like, I see that, and I just kind of keep my space, keep my corner, keep my circle, and then I just know that person's just trying it and they're doing what they're doing. It's like it's not malicious to them. Right. It's not. They're just going in another direction. They're just doing what they're doing. That was really important to go. Listen, it's cool, Daniel. Like, it's not war. A
lot of deep breaths.
Yeah. Like now I don't breathe as deeply. Yeah.
This is from Nayo. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Hello. Hi. And I would like to know, how did working on Get Out change you? We've obviously talked a little bit about it, but what would you say your wholesale, evolution has been since working on this movie?
In what way? Sorry.
Well, I guess because I had such a reaction to the movie. I went with my bestie.
Hello.
And it created such a shift in me that I won't go into. I imagined being in that state of mind and being in that environment and really putting yourself into the mental places that you're going through this. What that, if that had any impact on you, and then the process of how people receive it and what you were talking about, like how that affected you.
I mean, it's made me understand that when I'm at a party and people say something. I mean, it makes me really understand that they're trying to be nice. They're trying. But they don't actually know. It makes you understand that I don't know who's privileged here. Are you privileged the fact that you don't have to see it that way, my way? Or am I privileged because I see it your way? You know what I mean? Like, so, in terms of like, it let out a lot of anger that I have. Do you know what I mean? Like, cause and that was really important for me. Because it's always good to do it in a productive fashion. As my mum said. So that was really, I felt like cool. And also it just kind of like going, finishing it may go, this movie shouldn't really be made, to be honest, in the, like, it should be, but we have a thing that it shouldn't be. We have something in our psyche that thinks that we shouldn't make something like this. This is radical. And the fact you did it means that, well, anything's possible. So I kind of like, so it's hard for me, even with interviews. This is why I don't do, that's why I'm not on social media and stuff, because I'll just say what I think. Because it's like, well, do you mean, because if you've lived that perspective and you've been in a film where like someone's been persecuted and that person survives, and like you did, like, it's like you just become less fearful, I think. I don't know. Yeah, so I just say it, and then sometimes to my detriment, I ask Christine, my publicist. I don't know. I just say it. I'm not really that scared. I think. Well, I proved to myself I can do a lead as well. So it's like, so yeah. Thank you.
And this is from RJ. Where's RJ? Yeah.
How you doing, bro? You good?
Hey, RJ. So we've touched a little bit on this, but he says that he saw you for the first time in Black Mirror and was very inspired by your acting. And you said you didn't have formal acting training in London, but he wanted to know what training you did receive, maybe outside of the improv classes that you took. Was there anything else you did? Did you work with an instructor? Or did you pursue other classes outside of what you already talked about?
So yeah, I have, because I'm not trained, I have a deep insecurity about my ability. And I just own it. Like, so I just feel like I should always learn. Like what I said, I did this improv class, but then I couldn't afford this, like, a thing called NYT, which is what you do before drama school. I couldn't afford that. My mom didn't have the money for that. So like I would go, okay, cool. Anything free or cheap, I'm doing. Like, I'm just doing it. Like, anywhere around, I'm just gonna do it, because I want to just get better at my job. You know what I mean? I asked that because I'm actually going to London. Oh wow. For the first time. Oh cool. And if you got any tips, because I might be on the same thing, because I'm gonna be on a small budget. How old are you? I'm 28. This at the end of this month. Yeah, because when you're like younger than 25, there's a lot. But when you go, like, there's a lot of improv classes, there's a lot of the poor school, and there's a lot of subsidized whack. I went to whack, which is like, was £1.50, which is amazing. It was £1.50 to go to a class. And if you went to every single class that year, you get the next year for free. It's like, there's amazing things in London that helps people from underprivileged backgrounds to like get into the thing. So that's Weekends Arts College, and they've got like singing, dancing, whatever, and they have a showcase where like cast directors and XYZ come. So like, but yeah, I go accent classes. Like I drill it, I drill everything. But then accent classes are kind of like acting classes. I end up hearing myself.
Your accent was amazing in the movie.
Thank you.
I mean, hearing you, the way you really speak,
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible.
Cheers.
I would never in a million years have known that.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. Cheers.
Huge. It's huge.
Cheers. But yeah. I just kind of, I don't know, man. I kind of, I watch a lot of documentaries because I think that's the best kind of acting coaching, because it's real, isn't it? Like, because a lot of acting performance you've seen are already realized ideas. Someone's made that. Someone's done it. So it's like, well, that's done. So when you watch a documentary, that's someone that's on a film, but he's not, or she's not being. She's just expressing herself, or he's just expressing. Any
specific documentaries or types of movies?
No, I just watch loads of docs. I don't know. Because I find it interesting. I find something interesting.
Like true crime stuff, or
no, or like a basketball doc, or like something that I go, oh, this is an interesting story. Because I think there's a bigger range of stories in the documentary circuit. So then I go, oh, cool. I want to know about the Philippines. Like what's happening there. So I'll watch something like that, and then you see someone, you go, whoa, they are fascinating on screen. And you go, why are they fascinating on screen? And then my brain just goes on one. And then I go, okay, cool. It's this, that, and the other. So and then I just feel like it's really important to be a part of like classes or organizations that there's a showcase or there's a show at the end of it. Because that's real. Like people are gonna come and watch you, and you have to be. This is a profession. If you see it that way, because some people just see it as a hobby for an audience, and you have to it's like there's only so much training you can do as an athlete. You need to play games, Do you know what I mean? In order to get to a certain level. And that's how I feel like it should be an organization that is about playing games. And because that's the game playing is what we're here for.
You had a free acting class today, so that's good. Thank you so much for being here.
Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you
great
so
weekend.
much for your time.
Thank you.
Love. Cheers.
Thank you.